So I finally finished my old sketchbook, which honestly took way too long, but with the whole Drawtober thing, it really extended the process. I did this drawing and inked it ahead of time because, well, frankly, it took me forever to think of what to draw. If you're wondering what sketchbook this is the Maruman Zuan Sketchbook. I've actually used it before and I really like this paper and everything about it. In specific, I'm going to be using the 8x11 A4 size sketchbook. The good thing about this paper, honestly, is I really like how it has some type of grip and yet still can use these markers really well. But the bad side is there's only 24 pages, so that kind of sucks because I'd like a sketchbook with a little bit more pages so I feel like I'm getting a little bit more out of my money. But I think this sketchbook is about $10 from what I last recall. Okay, I actually went and looked it up. It's $8.19 for this size on Amazon, which honestly isn't a bad price for a sketchbook compared to a lot of other brands that'll hold a really high price on their paper. So it's much more accessible for people because of the sole fact of its price, which is what I kind of like about it. It's also a brand that's been known for like years, I think, over in Japan, so they love the paper over there as well. I did a whole review on the book too if you're genuinely curious as to how everything goes for it, so if you want to check that out you can. It's somewhere on my review playlist on my channel, so yeah. Okay, now we're going to talk about the character. So originally I actually had no idea what to draw, and I was struggling a little bit with that because of the whole idea of the first page pressure, where you want to draw something that when somebody opens up the book, they're like, wow, look at this, the rest of the sketchbook must be great too. Which I honestly hate that, because then it puts pressure on like everybody who starts a sketchbook to have a great first page, when you just need a page that you could have fun on and draw on. But here we are. So I decided, instead of sitting there and struggling, why don't I take inspiration from somewhere? I recently bought these little washi sticker packs from Amazon, and they're all in different kind of color groups, like pink, purple, blue, green, etc. And I decided to look through the flip books until I found something that I could draw inspiration from. Well, what really spoke to me was the blue pamphlet, as you can tell from the character and what he's wearing, because it's all completely blue, or at least some kind of a blue tone. It was low-key a struggle, though, to only use blue, for the sole fact that I have not been refilling my markers. And this paper really told me, it was like, I know your shit's dry. I know these markers are dry, and you're gonna be, like, begging for crumbs over here. And I really was. I was way too, like, time pressured, because I had to do it, like, the drawing quickly in my brother's room before he came in to come sleep. So, like, I was like, okay, I don't have time to go back into my room, get all the refills that I need, and then refill the markers. So I was like, screw it, we'll just work with what we have. So that was a good indicator of me needing to refill and take care of my markers, because they definitely need it, I'll tell you that much. Also, I really want to get this off my chest. I do not like how I highlighted the belt that's supposed to be around his leg. I think I added too much highlight, and when you add too much highlight to something, it looks really out of place, or just doesn't, it just doesn't look good. So I look at that belt and I'm like, wow, that looks like really bad compared to the rest of the drawing. I should have only highlighted like a certain part or like some certain edge instead, because now it just looks like a sore thumb sticking out to me, and probably to other people who draw as well are gonna say like, hey, that looks a little weird, and I completely agree that it does. So maybe I'll go back in and fix that later, or maybe not. Maybe I just let it sit there and suffer, because hey, it's already there. What am I gonna do? On the bright side though, I think my favorite part of the drawing is his face. There's just something about the way that I shaded it that I just really like. I don't think it's too overbearing, and I also like his expression, which is pretty soft and kind of welcoming or inviting. Like, I like that about this character, which I decided to name him Spade. I thought of that before I actually drew his earring in. I was like, ooh, I should call him Spade, and then give him a spade earring, and I was like, okay, we could totally do that. So I ended up liking that. For his hair, I ended up using, I think, just a really dark gray, and I decided not to put in any indicators of highlights or anything in there, I think, but I did go through over with the edges with a dark blue to kind of tie it back into the piece, because I wanted it to, like, be cohesive with itself, if that makes any sense. Like, I didn't want to just have a random dark color in there and it doesn't tie in with the piece. So I think the blue edges really helped make the drawing look like it was a monochrome-ish piece of work. I will tell y'all though, I really did struggle with his arm. I originally messed up the inking because there was a smudge on the marker, and I was like, oh, that's bad, so I tried shading it and it did not work. And then I was like, hey, let's try and freehand a tattoo. Worst idea ever. Don't ever do that in your life. Literally, if you're gonna do a tattoo of anything, please draw the design beforehand. Something. Because eventually I was like, okay, this is getting really messy and ugly. We should stop. So I was like, let's just cover in the whole area and make it look like he's wearing one sleeve and one no sleeve arm. Which honestly, I kind of like more than the bare arm on that side for some reason. But I really do like the outcome. There's the little washi sticker tape book. So what I did is I took stickers from the book that I felt fit the piece, because some of the stickers were either too light in tone or too dark or whatever. So I made sure to kind of stay in that family of tones, and I put them in spaces that were not only big enough to fit them, but like actually looked good in that spot. So there's also that factor that I have to take in. Then afterwards, I took a Posca pen because I really wanted to fill up this space and not make it look empty, because I have that issue of leaving empty spaces. And I just kind of filled it in with random squiggles and lines that I kind of do in a lot of my paintings or in any kind of work that I just want to fill in. Admittedly, at first, I really did not like the drawing, but stepping away from the sketchbook and looking at it the next day, I actually really like him and how he came out. Hopefully this sketchbook is a good one, because the last one I was a little iffy on. But yeah, thanks for watching, and remember I love you. Bye!